taxes than those down below. Even some of our richest people have commented that they think that's won't be wrong.
We've been obsessed with certainly what we call the Magnificent Seven, the big mega cap tech companies. They're very big. Amazon, we talked with an author recently, so entrenched certainly in our world, and you think about their reach. Are these the companies, the individuals, whether it's an Amazon, whether it's a Meta, whether it's an Alphabet, that you think, you talk about growth of market power, is it too much at this point, in your view, that something needs to be done to rein them in, or do the benefits outweigh the downside here?
Well, they do get benefits, but they have a lot of downsides. They need to be better regulated. Europe has done a better job at regulating them. The digital harms are quite obvious and have been by now well documented. But talking narrowly now about market power, I think we ought to do what we can to limit their market power, but tax the fruits of that market power, the revenues that they get, at a much higher rate. If you ask the question, would Jeff Bezos or the founders of Google or Zuckerberg stop working if we tax their wealth in a way, say, of 3%? They will continue to work.
But do you think that they would leave the United States?
Well, we have imposed what we call an exit tax, that those with a lot of wealth and who don't feel loyal to the United States can leave. We allow them to leave, but they have to pay a tax that represents a tax on the fruits of the wealth that they've accumulated while they've been in the United States. And that tax is significant, and it is a deterrent. And if it's not, it may be that we ought to consider raising that tax. But I don't think people like Zuckerberg, Musk are going to leave the United States. They realize the benefits of American citizenship.
We're speaking right now with Professor Joseph Stiglitz, Nobel laureate economist. He's a professor of economics at Columbia University. He's got a new book out, The Road to Freedom, Economics and the Good Society. Professor, as I mentioned, you are up at Columbia. You've been there for a long time. We've been watching everything that's been happening on the campus there, as well as campuses including USC, Yale, MIT. The list continues to go on here in the United States as we've seen pro-Palestinian protests and encampments take over some of these campuses. Freedom in the academic context. How are you looking at the protests in the context of freedom of speech?
That's a good question. I mean, first let me comment that up at where my office is, which is the Manhattanville campus, things are very quiet.
Near the business school.
At the business school.
Quiet there.
But you've been on campus a long time, and you've seen different protests over the years, and it seemed to be, I was there when there were protests, and it seems like that's what students should be doing, exploring and pushing back when they don't feel like things are right. But what is it, those protests in the context of freedom of speech?
So I agree with you very strongly. I'm actually happy that the students are engaged in the world. That's one of the things I try to get them to be interested in the world, and also to reason about the world, to come to understand it, and to debate how could or should things be changed. So that's a good thing. And in my own life, protests have played a very important role. Back in 1963, I was down there in the March on Washington with Martin Luther King. And, that speech he gave about I Have a Dream has been a lifelong inspiration to me. So, even civil disobedience in certain circumstances can be an important mechanism for social change. We have a special responsibility, of course, to make sure on our campus that all views get heard, that we can have civil debates. And so on the one hand, academic freedom is really important. And I really took offense to Speaker Johnson coming up to our campus and calling for the resignation of our president. I haven't seen anything like that, maybe since the McCarthy in the 50s. I mean, that kind of direct interference in academia is just unheard of. And we know some of the Republicans have been trying to undermine universities because universities teach children how to, our youngsters, our young men and women, how to think. And a lot of people don't like that idea that they should be thinking for themselves. But at the same time, we have to create on campus a community where all voices are heard. And I think we're actually working very much towards that. There were only a few people raising problems, and I think having outside agitators like the speaker is not helpful.
Our thanks to Joseph Stiglitz, professor of economics at Columbia University. His new book, The Road to Freedom, Economics and the Good Society.
Still ahead on Bloomberg Business Week, from rethinking the concept of freedom, rather heady stuff, to another heavy topic, new Cold Wars.
The U.S. has something that Russia and China doesn't, which is a vast network of allies, which is probably our greatest strength and certainly enables us to extend our military, economic, technological reach. But those alliances are not as widespread as American officials would like you to think. There are probably 50 countries that are in the alliance together to back Ukraine, but that leaves another 120 that are either lined up with the Russians or standing on the sideline. Those who say don't make us choose between these two different groups.
Pulitzer Prize-winning author David E. Sanger on China's rise, Russia's invasion, and America's struggle to defend the West. That's next. This is Bloomberg Business Week.
This is the Bloomberg Green Report. It may seem that lithium-ion batteries power the world. Electric cars, smartphones, laptop computers, and other electronics rely on them. But despite their dominance, there are other ways to build a battery. A Michigan-based company, Natron Energy, built a plant to make sodium-ion batteries. The facility is already making cells, and the company plans to begin shipments next month. Natron is not alone. Haina Battery Technology of China and Northvolt of Sweden are pursuing sodium-ion technology. The firms are betting it will have advantages over lithium that will earn it a place in the battery market. Sodium-ion batteries can't match the energy density of lithium-ion cells, but they can discharge faster and provide short, intense bursts of power. Natron CEO Colin Wessel says their main raw input is sodium, which is abundant and cheap. The batteries don't need cobalt, which comes from mines, and there's no fire risk. Jeff Bellinger, Bloomberg Radio.
World markets, headlines, and breaking news 24 hours a day at Bloomberg.com and the Bloomberg Business app. This is Bloomberg 1130. Now, a global news update. Underwater rescues have been taking place around the Houston area where flooding is occurring following heavy rain. Houston Mayor John Whitmire.
Evacuate, if at all possible, if you're in a low-lying area.
Evacuations have been underway in some areas along the San Jacinto River. Two Florida teenagers who were caught on a viral video dumping garbage into the ocean have turned themselves in. Video from last Sunday shows the teens on a boat off the coast of Boca Raton emptying trash cans into the Atlantic Ocean. Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission says the two suspects are a 15-year-old from Gulfstream and a 16-year-old from Boynton Beach. Luka Doncic and the Mavericks are headed back to the Western Conference semifinal. Doncic racked up 28 points and 13 assists as the Mavs cruised past the Clippers 114-101 in Game 6 of their first-round series in Dallas. Dallas will meet the top-seeded Thunder in the next round starting on Tuesday in Oklahoma City. I'm Rob Montier.
And I'm Denise Pellegrini in the Bloomberg Newsroom. Berkshire Hathaway out with quarterly results this morning. Billionaire Warren Buffett's conglomerate reporting first quarter operating income of $11.22 billion. That is up just about 32% quarter on quarter. Another interesting note, Berkshire Hathaway's cash pile has hit a record $189 billion in the first quarter. You know, this is the first annual gathering there for the annual shareholder meeting in Omaha, Nebraska, since Vice Chair Charlie Munger died. And Bloomberg's Sally Bakewell says Munger was seen by some as the heart and soul of the company and also a main player in the U.S. economy.
He'd like to recall that, around 1965 when Buffett bought Berkshire Hathaway, which at that time was just a group of failing textile mills, Munger said to him, stop buying companies like this. Now is the time to buy wonderful companies at fair prices, not fair companies at wonderful prices. And that is sort of the seed of where Berkshire Hathaway was born. And it is now, of course, a conglomerate with businesses sprawling from retail to manufacturing to insurance to private equity, which also makes it a very good barometer for the health of the U.S. economy.
All right. Thank you, Sally. Bloomberg's Sally Bakewell reporting there. China's President Xi Jinping kicking off his first trip to the European Union since 2019 this weekend. He'll have a prominent visitor soon after he returns to Beijing, by the way. We get more on all that from Bloomberg's Nathan Hager.
President Xi will meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin next week. Bloomberg News has learned the Russian leader plans to visit China May 15th and 16th, a little more than a week after his inauguration for a fifth term this coming Tuesday. Putin's last trip to China was back in October, a rare trip abroad as he is under an international criminal court arrest warrant tied to the war in Ukraine. In Washington, I'm Nathan Hager, Bloomberg Radio.
Thank you, Nathan. Some possible developments on a ceasefire in the Mideast. Saudi Al-Sharq News Channel reporting Hamas may soon announce it is accepting Egypt's proposal for a ceasefire and the release of hostages. The report says that's after talks between Egypt and Qatar and delegations of Israel and Hamas about a prisoner release. Egyptian TV, meantime, reporting Hamas negotiators have arrived in Egypt for Gaza talks. CIA Director William Burns is there, and he is also involved in ceasefire negotiations. And Global News 24 hours a day. And whenever you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Denise Pellegrini, and this is Bloomberg.
Now, your 3-day weather forecast on Bloomberg 1130.
Your umbrella will definitely have some utility this weekend. Increasing clouds, especially in the afternoon, high 60 to 65 today. Tonight, cloudy, slight chance of showers, low near 50. Tomorrow, showers and rain likely, high near 60 degrees. Tomorrow night, cloudy, light rain and showers, low near 55 early, rising during the night. Monday, mostly cloudy, chance for showers, especially early in the day, high near 75. That's your 3-day weather forecast on Bloomberg 1130.
Breaking news first. The April jobs report.
Non-farm payrolls come in a little light, 175,000.
The unemployment rate came in higher at 3.9%.
The market simply launches.
Instant reaction. Insight from the experts.
The labor data is very much consistent with the rebalancing.
This report feels like soft landing written all over it.
It's one little step in the right direction for the Fed.
The news you need. The names you trust. Bloomberg 1130. Context changes everything.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Christina Townsend, Managing Director and Head of Relationship Management at BNY Mellon Pershing, talks about their upcoming Insight Conference.
To help advisors help more people, BNY Mellon's Pershing is taking Insight to the next level. At this year's Insight Conference in Nashville, Tennessee, from June 4th to 6th, you'll make meaningful connections with thousands of visionaries, decision makers, and the industry's next generation. Insight puts you at the forefront of the wealth management industry. It's an incredible opportunity to network and hear from world-class speakers. Plus, we have over 100 dynamic sessions, from showcase stages and breakouts to intimate masterclasses and learning labs. It's 3 days of countless opportunities to expand your knowledge, your network, and your growth. You'll leave Insight with fresh intel on industry trends and the motivation to bring the best ideas to life within your business and your career.
Visit insight.bnymellon.com to learn more or register. Pershing LLC, member FINRA, NYSE SIPC.
Larry Thicklin, college professor and philanthropist, talks about why he chose the Jewish Communal Fund for his charitable giving.
Number one, I like the convenience. Number two, I like the alternative investment opportunities. Number three, I like the online ability to do whatever I want to do.
To find out how you can simplify your charitable giving, contact the Jewish Communal Fund at 212-752-8277. That's 212-752-8277. The Jewish Communal Fund manages your account, invests the assets, and issues checks directly to charities from your fund.
Most importantly, I like the service of the Jewish Communal Fund. When anything comes up that's slightly out of the ordinary, there's a human being I can call, I get that person on the phone, I get it resolved, and I'm on to the next facet of my life.
A fund can be established quickly and easily with a tax-deductible contribution of $5,000. Visit jcfny.org to simplify your charitable giving.
Bloomberg Radio brings you influential voices on the stories that matter. Bridgewater founder Ray Dalio.
You can't get deeper and deeper in debt and spend without consequences.
Park Investment CEO Kathy Wood.
Even the Fed is going to be surprised at how low inflation goes.
Former St. Louis Fed President James Bullard.
If the right moment arises, the Fed can make a move and start to inch the policy rate down.
The names that matter on the news you need. Listen on Bloomberg 1130 or anytime on the Bloomberg Talks podcast.